Hello, everybody, and welcome to this webinar focused all about tiny homes in the tropics. If you are just joining us for the first time ever today, very much warm welcome to you all. If you are joining us again from previous webinars or previous conversations, it is so great to have you on the line again with us here today. But we wanted to take a minute to showcase the tropical tiny homes that Eco Villages designs and brings to you guys as an opportunity of ownership. So we're going to jump right in here because we do have a lot to cover with you guys today. Again, we have tiny homes across the region that we want to share with you today and help you know a little bit more about them and a little bit more about these features, these eco-sensible features that Eco Villages has put into these homes. So getting started here, we're going to move right along. Take a couple minutes while we're going through our introductions here to familiarize yourself with your control panel. We will be taking questions throughout this presentation as they pertain to the various conversations that we'll be having, whether it's about floor plans or home models or even the locations themselves. But so take a minute, find that Q&A panel. Q&A section in your control panel. It's probably at the top or maybe at the bottom of your screen, just depending on how your platform is set up. But welcome to you all. My name is Ali Rodriguez. I am the Director of Sales and Marketing for Eco Villages. But beyond that, I myself have made the journey from the state of Texas a little over 5 years ago now, down to the region and currently called Panama home, but have also lived for a bit in Belize and Honduras. So happy to be on the line with you all here today and sharing these home ownership opportunities with you. So alongside me, I do have two other folks here with us. One of them is Andrea Martinez. Andrea, you are one of our awesome property experts with Eco Villages. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Ali, for the introduction. Yes, as Ali was saying.
No, we can barely hear you, Andrea. Maybe you want to adjust maybe a little bit.
Hello?
There we go. Yep, much better.
Thank you, Ali, for the introduction. As Ali was saying, I am a property expert at Eco Villages. I am Ecuadorian. I moved to Central America about 7 years ago. We decided, my husband Patrick and I, to live here for many reasons. One of them is like the lifestyle that we get here. Also, we love to have a second residency or more residents. We have like a Panamanian, Nicaraguan residency. So I'm very happy to be here and hopefully you enjoy the presentation.
Perfect. Yeah, we're going to have to see maybe if we can get you better situated on the mic there. But Patrick is sitting there right next to Andrea, and that's the husband she so fondly mentioned in her introduction to you guys. So Patrick, tell us a little bit about your story and your journey.
Okay, hang on a second.
There we go.
I think we might switch computers. I'm not sure what happened here. But,
we hear you great right now, Patrick. Maybe just
all right, well, I'll keep going and so you can hear me okay now.
Yeah, much better.
I don't know. I didn't do anything, but anyway, okay. Andrea's trying to get another computer set up here in the background. So anyway, thanks everybody. I'm glad to be on here. My name is Patrick Hebert. I'm originally Canadian. Like Andrea mentioned, we have residencies now in a number of countries down here in Latin America. I started coming down to the region actually in the 80s, dating how old I am, I guess, but in the 80s and 90s, and like a lot of Canadians and North Americans, came down to Mexico and Costa Rica and places like that, and then really started expanding where we wanted to travel into, and ended up really enjoying Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Panama, Belize, all over the place down here. So my son Spencer and I lived on a boat for a long time and really learned a lot about self-sustainability, I think, is what it really boils down to. With, catching your own food, living in smaller spaces, efficient spaces, and really just enjoyed that life and wanted to bring it to land. So what we've done here is, over the last number of years and quite a few years now, over a decade since we created our first community in Nicaragua, and really enjoy bringing the tiny home idea to land in Central America. Eco Villages designs a lot of different types of communities with a lot of different types of homes, estate homes, condominiums, larger 2, 3, 4, 5 bedroom homes, lifestyle farms, other sort of sustainable, earthship kind of earth bag homes, all sorts of things. But right today we're talking about tiny homes, and really our philosophy that you're looking at here on the screen is, involves a lot of things. But at the core of it, when we talk about minimalism, it's really efficiency of space. Whether it's a 8-bedroom mansion or a tiny home, we look at making use of the most efficient use of space, and that's what we mean by minimalism. Especially in these climates down here, the outdoor space that you're living in is really a big part of your life. You don't need the great rooms and all the things that you might have in a cooler climate, cold climate, where you just don't use those spaces, right? You're outdoors all the time. I like, sit outside, and, whether watching, I'm Canadian, so I watch hockey a lot. So, I'll use the outdoor space for that. And it doesn't have to be in a, indoor space. So we have much more efficient homes, and really, make use of that. On the eco-sensible side, we sort of coined that phrase a few years ago, and because although we like friendly concepts and features that we use a lot, they have to make sense. They have to be financially viable things too. You can't always just be a feel-good thing, or it's just not sustainable. So, we do a lot of things with solar power, gray water reuse, all sorts of different types of things, but it's all also good for your wallet, right? And good financially, not just good for the planet. And if it's good for both the planet and financially, then we feel like it's a sustainable, eco-sensible concept. Obviously, I mentioned self-sustainability a lot already, but that's kind of the center point, I would say. Third point on the slide, main point in our lives, I think, is people these days really, really, want to be less reliant on corporations, governments, and things like that. You see empty store shelves, even in North America and Europe, Australia. People are much more concerned about providing for themselves in self-sustainable communities. So we do a lot of things with community orchards and gardens, and like I mentioned earlier, starting on the lifestyle farms. So what we used to call hobby farms, basically making the communities very resilient and sustainable on their own. And liberty, I would then people ask, well, what does that mean? We're obviously, I myself, I consider myself libertarian. I'm not really left-wing, right-wing, or anything. I try to be as apolitical as possible, but we really are big on creating communities that promote freedom. People that are like-minded and enjoy spending time together, not cancel culture and censorship, basically. And we design the communities to have kind of common areas, what we call third spaces, where people like to get together and spend time together and feel good about their lives and have a much better lifestyle than they do in what has now become a very divisive world, and certainly in North America, Europe, and areas like that. So that's kind of the main pillars of thought or philosophy that we have.
Yep, and you mentioned this a little bit in those 4 pillars, Patrick, but here it is, a slide on these eco-sensible features that you mentioned that are good for the planet, that are reducing that amount of pressure that we're putting on these systems, and saving you money at the same time. So do you want to just touch on these a little bit before we get into the actual locations and homes and things like that?
Yeah, and I should probably mention that we've done slide or webinars on a number of these things before. There's lots of webinars out there on our website that you can go look at ecovillages.life. But I won't spend too much time on any one of them or in the house model specifically, just so that we make use of our time as best as possible. But obviously the physical footprint, the size of the home is important when you're looking at eco-sensible features. The less material you use, the less material you're using up, the less material that you got to maintain over the years. 99.9% of our homes are concrete. And sometimes we get kind of criticized on that. It's like, well, is concrete really that eco-sensible? And I say yes, it actually is, because these homes will last hundreds of years with almost no maintenance. And there's nothing more eco-friendly than that, because rotting wood, rusting metal, and all those sorts of things are just maintenance nightmares for an eco-friendly environment. So yeah, they're very, very eco-friendly homes. We do a lot of solar power, and some wind power. We're looking at some hydropower where we have creeks running through the properties. You know, a lot of these systems are hybrid, so it's a mix of the solar panels producing power, as well as a grid power that's, you know, more typical that people are used to. But you don't even notice it, right? All you notice is that you're paying like zero or very little for your power bill. We do include some what we call smart technology, smart features, and it's not to be invasive in your home or privacy invasive, but rather, you know, you can control your air conditioning, for instance. So if that you walk out of your home, it will switch off your air conditioner, or you can do it remotely. If you have renters, for instance, somebody's renting your home and you want to, when they check out, you want to make sure all the air conditioners are turned off because that takes a lot of power and that's expensive. So you can do that. You can switch them off remotely, and that's optional. A lot of people don't want those kind of technology in their home, and that's fine. I understand that. You know, gray water recycling, the water from your shower, your kitchen sink, all those sorts of things. That water is still very useful to be used. You can actually have systems where it fills your toilet bowl up, or it, you know, more so we use it for watering the sustainable gardens that you have, and that sort of thing. So there's multiple uses, sometimes 3 times that the same water is getting used. And that's really, you know, it's good, obviously, doesn't waste water. And at the same time, you're not paying for that water, you know, because you're paying for it once and it's used multiple times. Again, cost saving is at the center of everything.
Perfect. Yeah, so we have mentioned this a few times, and I will just kind of reiterate it here. We have done full presentations on these communities apart from each other by themselves to take a deeper dive into the community. If you're looking for those, they are on our website at www.ecovillages.life. In our webinars tab, you can find it up at the top, as well as some great educational type webinars in which we spoke specifically to relocating to those different countries down here in the region. So definitely take some time to take a walk through there and peek. You may find something that you would like to go and revisit. Also, I saw a question come in about recording of this presentation. Yes, it is being recorded, and we will be sending that out to everyone once we have it processed and up on our YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. If you have to jump off at any point during the presentation, of course, you're welcome to do so. We understand you have busy lives as well, and we'll make sure to get that recording out to you as soon as possible. So just a quick note here about where these places, where these communities are located. You can see here on this map, you know, North America is obviously up to the north, right below Mexico. You will find Central America. And you see here on the map, we have the Aruna community there in Belize, so right under the Yucatan Peninsula. Then if you travel a little bit further south, you're going to run into Honduras, where the Reef Eco Village is located. And then, of course, Nicaragua, where Playa Pacifica is. So what's great about these communities is they all have something a little bit different to offer. And Patrick, I know something that you and I've talked about before, and also in some other interviews and things you've done, is why Central America? Why did you choose Central America as kind of your jumping off point for not only your personal investments, but also the Eco Villages design team?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. First of all, the 3 communities that we're highlighting today are only 3 of many that Eco Villages has designed. But we're very proud of these. These are the three of the most recent ones that we've designed, and we're, you know, excited to talk about them. They span the Caribbean Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, so it's the Caribbean Sea to the Pacific Ocean. So it's really you know, a good diversification mix of the different communities, and they're all quite different in their design. So obviously Central America has a lot of things going for it. It's you know, beautiful climate, really friendly people, you know, very low cost of living relative to most other places in the world. And you know, you do have, like I just pointed out, the 2 oceans very close by. You have diversity of you know, a Pacific Ocean with the bigger, wilder waves, the Caribbean, white sand, blue waters, and then in between you have islands where we have communities coming up as well that, give you a little bit cooler climate than you get at the beach. These three happen to all be beachfront properties that we're talking about today. So, that's pretty cool too. To have tiny homes right on the ocean front is pretty much impossible in a lot of other countries. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And something you mentioned about is the people. And that's one of the things that I fell in love with first when moving down to the region was the people, the friendliness of those people. And so when we're talking about these homes, and you kind of mentioned it, beachfront property, these are beachfront communities, that says a lot to, what the investment potential looks like for each of these different communities, because they are in quite diverse locations. So tell us a little bit, on our screen here, we have kind of a graph, a chart that shows this investment appreciation potential, and why would a place like Mexico be so far at one end and places like Honduras, Nicaragua, and Belize be at the other end of the graph here?
Well, whether you're looking at buying a tiny home or a bunch of tiny homes for an investment, or you're looking at moving into one.
Patrick, we lost you a little bit again there.
Okay, we're going to switch to another computer very quickly.
There we go. Well, now I can hear you just fine. I think
Okay,
it's
well,
the thread.
I'll finish this comment and then I'll switch to the other one. You can hear me now, though?
I can, yeah.
Okay, I don't know what's going on with the computer, why it's doing that, but yeah. So whether you're investing in one of these homes or a number of these homes as a rental revenue investment, or whether you plan to live there is irrelevant, because I think most people want to gain a capital gain, right, or have increase in the value of their home. So basically, what this graph shows is the capital requirement, the cost of buying a home on the left side, and the maturity of the market and the maturity of the rental market along the bottom side. So basically, in the bottom left corner are countries or communities or areas that are newer to tourism, newer to marketing their own countries, and so a little bit less mature on the investment curve. And countries like Mexico, or you could put Costa Rica and Panama up there on the kind of top right as well, that have done a better job, frankly, of marketing themselves as a country, having tourism. People from different parts of the world think of Costa Rica and they go, oh yeah, well that's a great place. It's safe. It has lots of things to do. Well, Nicaragua is actually safer and with exactly the same number of things to do. It's a very similar country, with a volcanic mountain range in the middle, lakes, beautiful Pacific and Atlantic Caribbean beaches. So it's really, this chart really is just showing you, if you're looking at something where you'd like to get into a market where it's a little less expensive, that would be the bottom left. It has more room for capital gain, because as these countries and as these communities become more popular, the value of your home is going to go up. On the top right, you're probably going to make a little bit more dollars wise in the rental revenue, because it's a more mature market. More people go to Mexico, more people go to Costa Rica than they go to Honduras, for instance. But we've tried to find a sweet spot with our communities, whether it's the Belizean, Nicaraguan, Honduran communities. They're in a very touristy spot where if you're if you're looking at a tiny home in this region for rental revenue, these are great communities for that, because that's really, they've been chosen as to where they are, but that's a big factor in the choice. So although like Honduras in this case looks like it's way low on the bottom left corner there for maturity of cash flow, but that's not really true. The Reef is in an area just outside of La Ceiba, looking out at the diving island of Roatan. Very, very popular spot, super interesting place to go. Lots of tourism, underdeveloped for accommodations. So it's got a great return on investment for rental. So it's a little bit deceptive on these curves, but we just wanted to kind of give people an idea of, they're not all Central America is the same. I tend to look at the communities that are on the lower left-hand side when I'm investing.
Right. And you mentioned that not all the countries are the same, but even communities within the same countries aren't necessarily the same on the investment curve either. Whereas, Mexico also has some other communities that wouldn't quite be at the top of this curve, right? So it's all about the location and what's going on surrounding that community as far as, what you can expect is, rental returns and things like that. So we are going to jump in now into the communities themselves. We are going to start down here at the bottom of this curve with Honduras. And Andrea is going to tell us a little bit about the Reef. Right, so Andrea, talk to us about the Reef in Honduras. I know Patrick mentioned a few of the highlights of the Reef there in La Ceiba, but you're going to tell us a little bit why people are choosing to own at the Reef and why from an investment standpoint that might be a good choice for you.
Yeah, sure, Ali. So the Reef is located in the Caribbean side of Honduras in an area called La Ceiba. The people that are looking to own in Honduras, specifically in that area, we're going to put like the top reasons. There are many reasons, but the top 3 reasons that we have seen for the people that are already living there as the immediate capital gain and ROI potential. That area in La Ceiba per se, the Reef, to talk about capital gain specifically, the Reef, they're building the homes, and soon the homes are going to be completely built, like the first ones. So when the first home starts, it's completely built, the prices are going to increase. They have been increasing already because that area is very well known as a tourist hub. So we see a lot of people interested in buying. They have purchased a lot of these homes. And so when you buy a home like right now, you would get an immediate capital gain because they're going to be soon, the community is going to be very soon be complete. The ROI potential is because that area, as I mentioned, is a tourist hub. So you get a lot of people interested, but at the same time, there is not enough properties that you can rent from. So that area in La Ceiba, because it's by the Caribbean and just across Roatan and Utila, which are really well-known tourist islands, receive a lot of visitors from not only the locals in Honduras who want to go to the Caribbean, but also from other countries like El Salvador, that country doesn't have a Caribbean coast. Other countries like Nicaragua, they don't have in Nicaragua a Caribbean. They have a Caribbean coast, but they don't have the beach, the development that you would find in this area of Honduras, as like the Reef that we're going to show you some pictures also. And also this is an ideal location to capture the regional ecotourism. People like to go there to, do snorkeling, hiking, diving, because there is, as the name indicates, it's a reef. So people love to go doing good. It's a really great place to snorkel, to dive. Also, when you can travel in 45 minutes in the ferry to Roatan and Utila, which is a great place to do all this type of water sports. Also, there is bird watching. You get very close to nature. There's a jungle that you can. It's a small area where you can find all these things that you can do that are so close to nature. In La Ceiba, the community by the Reef, there is a jungle very close by, and you can see howler monkeys. Patrick loves to see them. So.
My favorite, the monkeys.
Yeah, so there are so many things that you can do outdoors and at the same time be in a house that is in the middle of all this, where you have like this peaceful, beautiful house where you can look at the ocean and at the same time do these outdoors things, and then also go to town, which is so close to the community, which we're also going to talk about a little bit more. And the property prices, you're going to see the prices of these homes. Having a home in front of the ocean in the Caribbean, but with the prices that we're going to show you, it's very difficult to find in other countries in the world. So it is so attractive right now for tourists to be able to own a home like this, built with concrete, really strong homes with great quality, so modern, self-sustainable. It is very difficult to find it anywhere else in the world. And if you can do it, you can live in there and you can also rent it. And as I was saying, you get really good rental revenues for that because tons of tourists go every time and you don't have many places to go and rent your place. So these are the top reasons, but there are many others that mostly all Latin America has, like the culture, the food, the friendliness of the people, the lifestyle, the residency options. So these are only some that I wanted to mention.
Yeah, absolutely. And Charlie, we see your question in the Q&A. We'll definitely get to that here in just a bit. But moving into, you talked about, this immediate capital gain. And here's the master plan of the Reef. And I know, Patrick, that you've talked to us a little bit about how large actually the Reef community is going to be once it's all finished. So talk to us a little bit about this master plan. Again, we're not going to go too far into detail here just because we don't have time for all of it here with you today, but do check out those webinars specifically on the Reef or these other communities to get a little bit more information there. But yeah, Patrick, tell us a little bit about the master plan here.
Sure. And first of all, you can hear me okay if I'm speaking here, right?
You sound great. And you look great
perfect.
too, but you sound great.
Yeah, apparently Andrea's computer is much better than mine. So now we'll be quick through this because, as we said, we've done a Reef webinar where you can see a lot more details. We were just there at the Reef last week, and it's just a spectacularly beautiful spot. It's one of my favorite spots. It's so rare to find such a beautiful beach on the Caribbean Ocean. Like obviously the spectacular blue waters, so close to the world's largest living reef, and then turn around 180 degrees and you see massive mountains. Pico Bonito is a 8,000 some foot mountain. Right behind you and between you and the mountains is the monkeys that I love in the jungle, and butterflies and all sorts of beautiful walking paths. And that's where we'll have the communal gardens and orchards, and it's just like such a beautiful amount of stuff put into such a close area. You can go whitewater rafting or zip lining just a little while away like 5 minutes away in the mountains, or step out your front door and go snorkeling in the beach and look at colorful fish and stingrays and things. So it's an amazing spot. And it's exciting for us to see. A lot of the homes I think there was 17 of them now that are under construction, some of them very close, like a few weeks away from being finished. That's going to be very cool. I'm going to go back and definitely see. This is actually one of the communities where Andrea and I bought one of them as well, because it's really hard to find something like this where you really have that kind of potential for rental revenue and such a low cost of entry. So to me it was, and all these things, it's just such a beautiful spot. So really excited about the Reef.
Yeah, perfect. And so we're going to jump into the home models here. And just so you guys know, we're going to show you 3 home models that are available at the Reef. And any one of those homes can be situated on any one of these lots that are left for ownership. So you do get to choose your lot and your home model that you like the most. So Patrick, tell us a little bit about the Perla model.
Okay. One thing I didn't mention though is that the Reef is a community within a community, within the Grand Atlantida Resort, which is huge. It's a lot of acres there of future development. And there's also other homes there. There's large estate homes that exist, and people are renting them out now and living there. So it's bigger than just tiny homes, but it's beautiful having the tiny home community within that community. And just wanted to point that out. So if somebody says, well, I really like what you're describing as, that area, but I'd like a home a little bit bigger, that's an option as well. The Perla, I really like the Perla. We were just, like I said, we were just there. One of the Perlas is nearly done. And the nice thing about the Perla is you have a 360-degree view from that rooftop deck. And we literally, took some videos of spinning around and watching mountains, monkeys, and then the ocean, and right from your home, which you're a stone's throw from the beach. The Perla is a great, efficient little home, and it's got lots of different little features. But we're in a hurry here, so I'll
Yeah. So here's some of just the interior design and the floor plan there. And Patrick, you mentioned that you were just there. You captured some video and some imagery. We don't have those in the presentation today just for the sake of time, but of course you guys will be happy to send those over to you so that you can see them and kind of transplant yourself there, at least virtually for the time being, right? So, and here's a second model. Andrea, do you want to talk a little bit about the Coral model?
Yeah, sure. So the Coral model is a 333 square feet tiny home. This one I really like because the insides make it look, because it's a lofted model. You have the bedroom on top. It takes all the space it takes for the living, dining room, and the kitchen. So the ceiling is so high that it makes it look really clear and big and spacious. So you can see there the floor plans, you have the living, dining, the kitchen. I love that it has an island there. So it is very spacious. You can see the renderings right here, and how you can, there is like the stairs so you can go on the loft. And what I also love is that you have a big sliding door to get to the balcony and then look at the ocean. So it is a really nice design thinking, that you are in a tiny home, but at the same time you don't feel like you're in a small space, but it makes it feel really big and with a lot of light.
One of my favorite features about the Coral model that Spencer and I really enjoyed is one of the first tiny homes that we designed, actually. But it's the net. You can barely see it maybe in the bottom picture there, the bottom left, but you get both features in one, which is kind of cool. You have the vaulted ceiling. You can see all the way up to the top. You get a very open feeling, even for a tiny home. But that's a net over top of there that supports weight. Like you could, kids could go and sleep on there for the night, bring their sleeping bag on there, or you could just relax on that net and hang out, look out your windows and over the ocean from, above the floor below. So it's a really cool feature, and we try to put in some of those unique things into each home.
Yeah, super cute. I love that. It reminds me of like a trapeze net. I would probably spend a lot of time there as well. And the third home model that we have here, and actually has become the most popular there at the Reef, is the Delphine model. And this is the 2-bedroom model that a lot of people found, if they're going to bring their families, they want that extra added bedroom for privacy. Maybe if you are looking to go and work remotely, make that room into your office. And then, of course, you have incredible views as well from that balcony. You have a little hammock up top that you can just sit and relax. But here is the actual floor plan there, so you can see. So the second bedroom is actually on that second story as part of, or right on the other side of your terrace. But lots of different models to choose from at the Reef. Again, there are tiny homes. This is a tiny home community specifically, but if you're looking for a larger home, we do have those available with also some eco-sensible features built into them as well. So
one thing on the Delphine here, just to quickly mention something on the Delphine. I mean, we always surprise people when they say, oh, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath tiny home, that's impossible. So we challenged ourselves to make that work within 450 square feet. And it's really cool. And actually, because they have sofa beds as well, so in a home like this can sleep 6 people comfortably, and that's pretty unusual. Well, it's very unusual, unheard of for a tiny home. So I think that's one of the reasons why the Delphine has been so popular.
Yeah, and I think what you mentioned about the square footage, all of these are considered tiny homes, but living in the tropics and being part of a community like this where you have the incredible views, you have the ocean right outside, just steps away. You're not spending a lot of time inside. You're probably eating and sleeping, and the rest of the time you're enjoying those outdoor spaces.
Yeah, even that kitchen window is a pass-through window where because you're going to eat on your deck where you can watch the ocean waves and everything all the time, and so that we've built that into being another part of your living space. It's like having your living room outdoors.
I'm okay with that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm okay with that. And I know we've mentioned this a lot throughout it. It is a theme for a lot of people that are choosing to own these homes, whether you're looking at moving right away, making a complete lifestyle change. Maybe you're looking at owning a part-time home, vacation home that you visit maybe a couple months out of the year, a couple weeks out of the year, or maybe you are looking at it from just an investment perspective. This ROI chart that we have here, we actually have on all of our home models, not just the tiny homes and not just this community, but a little bit about this is that these are numbers that are based on experience. And Patrick, do you want to just quickly kind of highlight a few of these here that you have included?
Yeah, I mean, I think the bottom line here, not to spend too much on these because you can really analyze the ROI potential on any of these communities and their homes. most of the time the ROI is expected above 10%, which in today's market is pretty good. As you know, unless you're living under a rock, you probably understand inflation and stock market kind of, you know, on the verge of crashing, potentially coming down. So that's a pretty good return. And, you know, there's a real boom in vacationers right now too. And, you know, people, for instance, this just a couple of days ago in Canada, you know, if you're unvaccinated, you can now leave, which we're seeing a huge number of people doing that. And so, you know, more and more rentals happening all the time for various reasons. But these were based on properties that, you know, originally they were based years ago when we started making these on properties that we owned ourselves. So they were actual numbers that we took out of the rentals that we were getting. And then, you know, as we learned more, the market changed a little bit, we would update the numbers. So we try to be as accurate as these ROI, you know, anticipated ROI sheets as we can. We put a kind of a expected return or an average return, and then a, you know, worst case scenario, not worst case scenario, I guess, but a less expected, you know, worst scenario. And so you can kind of figure out based on that, you know, if you're looking at it for the rental. And a lot of people, like Andrea and I, have an awesome lifestyle with this kind of thing, because, you know, we own a few of these homes, and we can go stay in one for a few weeks or months and then rent the other ones out. And you know, the ones that are renting out kind of pay for the lifestyle of the one you're living in, right? And you can, you know, a lot of digital nomads love that, right? They can live on the Caribbean for 4 months of the year and then go to the Pacific to go to Nicaragua, and then up to, you know, Belize to be in, you know, on Ambergris Key, and just make that circle tour. And maybe if you own 3 of them, and I think we have a slide that's coming up, so I'll
yeah, you're getting us
I always
to the
jump
end here.
ahead.
Yeah,
you blame me for
we
these
definitely-
being too long, but I'm actually done the presentation at this point. I've done everything I was going to say.
We do have some questions here about the reef specifically, so I do want to get those answered real quickly here while we're still talking about the reef. Do the homes come with a landscaping package like in the renderings? That's a great question. What would you say to that, Patrick? I mean, I know most these are pre-construction opportunities, most of them, or they are construction sites. So what would you say to that question specifically?
Yeah, the landscaping is included with the homes. I mean, obviously, as the home's being built. Then the one of the nice things about the Reef, they were able to keep a lot of the huge, like 60-foot high palm trees all around the home. So it already is a fairly mature jungle to, you know, that you're living in. And then when they come back and the construction is done, they fill in with all the smaller plants. But it'll be a very lush, you know, environment. And one of the reasons for that is obviously these are small homes on small lots, so you're not that far away from your neighbor. But if you have a jungle between you and your neighbor, it doesn't feel like they're right beside you. It's not like a typical, you know, city lot where you see everything around you. So you can be as private as you want. You can do whatever you want with your own landscaping, of course, you know, in terms of adding more plants or changing them or whatever. But yeah, we try to make them as beautiful as possible within the, you know, and you want to use the native plants, right? That way you don't have nearly as much care. Right? They'll maintain themselves.
Perfect. Yeah. Another question, what kind of storage options are kind of built into these tiny homes?
Well, we all, in almost every one of our designs, especially if you're you know, expecting some of the people to be in the rental market with them, we create owner lock-off storage. So you have, you know, typically quite a bit of storage in terms of, you know, obviously your bedroom cabinetry and all that sort of thing. And but also we put in lock-off rooms so that, or storage sections, so that you can say, okay, I'm going to leave my surfboard or my diving equipment or whatever it is. I don't want everybody using it, so I'm going to lock that off when I'm not there. So you'll see, you know, that in various forms and wherever we could make the space. And then a lot of these, you know, you can be tweaked along the way if you want a customization and say, in fact, some people have done that at the Reef. When we were there last week, we had some interesting ideas that people were adding to their own homes, and one of them was to make you know, kind of an outdoor you know, storage area as well, which is a pretty inexpensive attachment to the home. And so depends on what they want. Like they wanted to have, you know, a lot of things that they left in the home that were on a lock-off basis, then they could do that. They made a much larger storage space.
Perfect. And then another question here about the Perla model. Is that the only one with ocean and mountain views? Great question here from Michael.
No, they all are. The only, if you look at the Delphine model, like for this one, for instance, it has 2 bedrooms and one bedroom is on top of the other. So if you're sitting in the deck in front on the, like basically on that rooftop area in front of the upper windows there, upper doors, you obviously can't see through your own home, but you're surrounded, you know, in generally there's sort of a 3/4 view on all of them. The Perla is the small one that has, you know, the full 360 view, but you also, we situate these homes on the property so they have the best view, but they all have amazing views.
And you can also add a window in the back.
Yeah, and if you want, you know,
Delphine.
yeah, and there's customizations that you can do that, you know, if you want to change, but yeah, from where if you see on the master plan, you see how very close you are to the ocean, and obviously the mountains are looming there behind you, so it's pretty hard not to see everything.
Perfect. And just for the sake of time here, Michael, you do have some other really great questions about location and things like that, that we'll be happy to answer for you, and send you that Reef Eco Village recording so that you can get some more of those details answered for you in your inbox. All right, so we are going to just we're going to go on into the next community here, which, here's some pictures from your visit there at the Reef, Patrick. So you guys can see the absolute beautiful views. I mean, those renderings just don't do the community justice. So you can see the water there, the extremely tall palm trees that are already there and have been preserved throughout this construction progress. So just beautiful, just a beautiful location. But moving in here to Playa Pacifica in Nicaragua, I know that Nicaragua holds a really special place for both you, Patrick, and Andrea. So Andrea, tell us a little bit about Nicaragua and Playa Pacifica, really.
Sure. So Playa Pacifica is a community also like the Reef within a community that is called Grand Pacifica. It is located about like 50 minutes from Managua, which is the capital of the country. This community is located in the Pacific side of Nicaragua. So it is totally different ocean. It's more for surfers, but it's a lot of fun too. We really love it there. As Patrick was saying, we own a property there. So we would love to have more neighbors, right? It's already developed with there's a lot of expats living there, but we always welcome a lot more. The top reasons people are owning in Nicaragua, first of all, a champion of freedom. Nicaragua, especially since 2020, became very popular because it was the only country in the Americas that when COVID struck, appeared in the world, it was the only country that didn't close its borders, didn't have mandates. They were more like to each its own, right? You had the possibility of decide on your own life and how you wanted to manage this. If you wanted to wear mask or not, if you wanted to close or not your business, they do respect private property. So if we have a restaurant there, and if we wanted to close it, it was because we wanted to do it. If we wanted to open it, it was because we wanted to do it. So that was the way Nicaragua approached this. And even when the vaccine started, they also didn't mandate them. You were never blocked from leaving your country, whether you were vaccinated or not. So that was something, a really good example of how they handled the pandemic. And that's why a lot of people put Nicaragua into the radar. Another thing is that it's one of the safest countries in Central America. We've been living there for a while, and you can see that when you're there. Not everybody knows much about Nicaragua, but when you're there, you feel really safe. You can travel from north to south. We've done it many times. And if you have a flat tire, if you have any problems, you ask for directions. People are super friendly or will always welcome you. You never feel threatened in any way. And they also are very used to welcome foreigners. So even if you don't speak the language, like in Belize, that English is the first language, they try to understand you. Like they know that you're not from the country, and they do their best to help you and help you find a way, even if you're lost, for example. And it also has the most affordable path to second residency. In Nicaragua, you can get the residency by investment if you invest from $30,000 to $35,000 in a property, and you are eligible to become a resident in the country. Right now, it's a very low price. Many countries here have increased their prices. So I think if you see Nicaragua, you're interested in Nicaragua, the best time is to do it now before they increase the prices. This price has been there for a while already, but we don't know if it's going to change. So
I think we're seeing a lot of signs. I mean, the current value is $35,000 investment for, and there's different levels, but for Honduras is $50,000. Panama went from basically $10,000 to $200,000 and now $300,000 in October. And a lot of people that missed that opportunity for residency are kind of kicking themselves now and wish they had done it while they can. So my 2 cents is I'm recommending if you like the idea, again, we try to stay politically aloof, but if you like the idea of living in or having a second residency as a plan B in a country that lets you live as you want to live, and like Andrea said, it's kind of a champion of freedom, then I would take advantage of that now and talk to us about how to make that happen. Because Nicaragua is always going to have one of the most important countries in my heart. It started coming down in the early 2000s and became a resident quite a while ago, and I love the country.
Absolutely. And something Charlie, this is a great place to just kind of put your question. So I'm going to pose it to you now, Patrick, is what does residency provide, over the 90-day tourist visa? What would you say to people that question the difference or the better of the two?
There's a lot of different things that are added as basically as a resident, you can do a lot of things that you can't do as a tourist, but everything except vote. And you have to be a citizen in order to vote. But obviously, as a tourist, you have to leave every 90 days. Nowadays, it's getting harder and harder because even if you renew it, sometimes they only give you a 1-month renewal. You have to leave for 72 hours and come back in from countries nearby. I mean, it's nice if you want to force yourself into traveling, but it's it can be a bit of a pain if you don't really want to leave when you have to and renew your visa. There's lots of other things in terms of tax advantages and import advantages. So if you want to bring a car in or some other type of things like that, you get advantages as a resident. But I think the reason we're seeing I'd say a 20-30 times increase in the number of people that are becoming residents of Nicaragua. And it's mostly, a lot of them, whether they're moving there or not, a lot of them just want to have that landing pad of a place where if their own country goes crazy again, then they have a place that they can go to that they know won't, right? So, for us, it's been great. We, at Grand Pacifica or the Playa Pacifica community that you can walk around, anytime over the last 2.5 years without a mask, unvaccinated, whatever, so it just, whatever your opinions are on that, I appreciate freedom that they let you decide what you want to do for yourself.
Perfect. All right, so Playa Pacifica and the tiny homes at Playa Pacifica. Here is the master plan of Playa Pacifica. And just to give you guys an idea, so Playa Pacifica is a neighborhood within a bigger resort community. So just think of this as one of those pieces of the puzzle. And what's great about Playa Pacifica, and because of their location, is that you have this immediate access to that resort, already built-in resort amenities. So just about a football field away, you've got an infinity pool, you've got the sea salt restaurant that Andrea mentioned earlier. But more importantly, you have over 3.5 miles of Pacific beach coastline that you get to enjoy, not to mention the phenomenal sunsets. But Patrick, tell us a little bit about what the vision was or what the feel is for Playa Pacifica community.
Well, I really love Playa Pacifica. Obviously, we love it because it's in the country we love and it's right beside the home we have. So, we're looking at, acquiring one of these homes as well in Playa Pacifica. It's a mix of different size of homes. Here you can see the tiny homes kind of near the top left and along the top on the right. And then there's a bit more mid-sized homes in the middle with a V in the front. And then the beachfront ones, right, are more estate size, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom type of homes on the beachfront. But you can see the tiny homes are very, very close to what is a spectacular beach? I mean, there's very few places again in the world that have such a beautiful beach that's empty. Like you pretty much you can walk down that beach and be one or two people on it for miles. And so what you're showing there now is phase one, and there's amenities within this community like the clubhouse, restaurant, pools, bird watching, that sort of different types of areas to enjoy the outdoors. But also, like you said, it's within the Grand Pacifica community, which has a golf course, horse stables. We like to take horses down the beach in the sunset, and you mentioned the pools and those sorts of things. So
paddleboarding.
Yeah, you can paddleboard in the river nearby. And Eco Villages had designed several other communities within Grand Pacifica, the Ava, Bella, Mila communities. But this one is really, ideal because Playa Pacifica is literally right on the best part of the beach. So you can step out your door and be right on the beach. And, in the tiny home world, there's, it's very difficult, for instance, in North America, the US, Canada, or even in Europe, that, you can subdivide a property to the size that a tiny home would be almost anywhere. And so they're almost always on wheels. Well, ours aren't. Ours are on a real foundation, very high quality built. The developer that we're working with here, they're known for their high quality of construction, very high end materials that are used. So these are just, extremely well built, really beautiful homes. And one of my favorite things, we went with a Spanish ranch style of home here, whereas you saw in the Reef earlier, that was a very modernistic type of architectural design. These are Spanish colonial. What I like about this is bringing Spanish colonial kind of into today's world. Instead of having a hitching post for your horse in front of your house, you have a hitching post that charges your electric golf cart. So it's still a hitching post, but it's doing a little bit different service in today's world. But you'll see with the homes, they're very beautiful homes. It's funny because Spencer and I and Herman and our team do a lot of the designs, all the designs on these homes. But Spencer tends to like the modern style, like the Reef more. I tend to like the old school. I guess it's my age or something, but the Spanish colonial style ones here. So you'll see that these are very beautiful homes as well.
Yeah, and something to point out, you guys, this is something really exciting that we haven't done yet, but we are offering some discounts on this webinar specifically. So you'll see here, you see these yellow outlined homes, the 4 homes here, T5, T6, T7, and T8. Off to the right of your screen, you see that those are labeled as special. So we are offering a webinar special for you guys here today. And the idea is that if you reserve one of these homes before July 6th, you will get these homes at a discounted price. And so you have 2 options on any of those home lots, with either the Galician model, which Andrea is going to talk about with you a little bit, or the Lucino model. So tell us about the 2 options we have for these tiny home lots.
Sure. So the Galician model is a 538 square feet studio tiny home. It has 1 bathroom, and as you can see, there's a webinar special there from 169,900 to 157,900. What I love about this model is that it is a studio, but at the same time, when you see the renderings in the how do you call it, floor plans there, you can see that there is the bedroom, but at the same time you have push-up drawers under the bed so you can storage things. We also have a lockout closet. The main access is you are from the outdoor area, the barbecue area. That's the terrace where you can look at the ocean, like it has beautiful views. And also one thing that characterizes the designs that we do is that we like the homes to be open, to have really good light. So you see that the kitchen, living and dining room are beside this main access, the terrace with sliding doors. So you have a lot of light coming in, as well as the kitchen has a really good window. There is also the thing that if you, in your bedroom, if you want to make it like more private, we can do that as well, but it is more like a type of hotel, a studio modern and at the same time ranch style. And what Patrick was mentioning, he likes the ranch style. I love the ranch style too, but at the same time with the modern type of designs that we have with the sliding doors and everything else.
One of the nice things about the Galician and some of the other models in Playa Pacifica is the outdoor cooking area as well. When you grow up in Canada like I did, you know, you don't worry about the heat from your stove and everything being inside the house because you kind of want to have the heat. But when you're living on the tropics on a beach, sometimes you don't want, I mean, air conditioners can handle it and everything, but sometimes you want to be more efficient and not have that heat inside. You can spend a lot of time cooking outdoors and you have that pass-through window as well to, you know, to make, maybe you're making your salad inside, but you're cooking and barbecuing outside. It's again, it's using the outdoor space as useful space.
Yeah, I also
absolutely.
like that it's pretty cozy, you know, that they use wood, so it makes it like ranch style, but at the same time, you have this cozy, very comfortable home that it is a tiny home, but at the same time, because you have these amazing views, you don't feel like you're in a small space. You feel like you're in this incredible, stunning environment, and as you were mentioning, the beautiful, phenomenal sunsets that you would be able to see there in Nicaragua, in Playa Pacifica.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the restaurant.
Your mouth is watering talking about the restaurant.
So this is your studio option here, the Galician model, but then we also have, and there's some interior renderings that you can see. So you can see the stainless steel appliances, just some incredibly beautiful, natural looking finishes. But then the Locino model we also have available is a 2-bedroom option. Again, these are tiny homes, but you guys have found a way to really make them feel, I guess, like castles by the ocean because this 2-bedroom model at just under 600 square feet. Andrea talked to us about the Locino model, and I see we do have one of our owners here online of the Locino model. She says hi, and she can't wait to see her new home. So glad to have you on the line here with us today, Kelly. But talk to us about the Locino model.
Good choice, Kelly.
Yeah, congratulations. I truly love these tiny homes. The Locino home, as you can see, it also has a special, it's a 2-bedroom home. The difference with the Galician is like, it says it's a little bit bigger, and also you have the option of having 2 bedrooms. The master bedroom has a king size bed, and the other bedroom, the guest bedroom, has a how do you call it, bunk bed. But you have the choice to make it an office, or if you want, you can have a smaller bed, or you can have also a sofa bed. However you would like to manage that, if you want to rent it, if you want to live in it. But I think these homes are so beautiful that are great for even moving there and living there. But some people, what they do is also they come and stay there for a few months, and then they rent it for the rest of the year. So that is why for us it was very important to have lockout closets, so you can put your stuff there after enjoying your place and rent it for the rest of the year. And the people that are in charge, the rental management team that are on site, will take care of your home. But as you see, is very similar to the Galician. You have the barbecue area with the pergola, the terrace, where you can have beautiful views, and with the kitchen, living, dining room. And the difference is the two bedrooms that you can see there.
And you brought up a good point. A lot of people ask, and we might as well answer it right now. There is an on-site property management, rental management group that, you know, if you want to come there for a couple months, a year, and rent it out the rest of the time, then that's all taken care of for you. So it makes it very convenient. And
Yeah.
those numbers that they use are what produce this ROI sheet as well.
And also remember that the price, it's included the house and the land. You're going to own both, the land and the house.
Right, that's very important. And why I moved to this screen is because we have broken down everything for you, including that property management split and how all of that works. And again, we're happy to sit down with you, get on a Zoom call, blow this up bigger so you could see it, and walk you through each of the pieces of the puzzle here. A few questions that came in. Does the Galician come with an outdoor barbecue grill?
Yes.
Great question. Anonymous. I don't know who you are, Anonymous, so I call you by name, but yes, these homes come with that outdoor barbecue grill. You'll be happy to be able to have those. I know for me and my husband, we grill a lot. So it would be a tragedy if we didn't have a grill
Yeah.
at our new home. So Charlie's asking, what is the roof material? Great question, Charlie.
Typically, I can't remember what the exact name of the brand is or whatever, but it's a synthetic material that goes on. It's like the old school tin, except they don't use tin anymore. They use something that lasts pretty much forever. And then one of the guidelines for the community is to have the old school Spanish colonial clay tile look on the roof, and that it's really more for looks than it is for actually keeping the weather out. But underneath those tiles are really the panels that keep the weather out, the rain and everything.
Perfect. And I know you guys mentioned wood a lot while you were talking about these very Spanish colonial homes, but they are they are concrete homes with some wood finishes.
Yeah, it's the wood accents, and a lot of those woods are local hardwoods that withstand the local weather, and some of them are clad with wood, so it's a mix of things, but it's more for the look. The homes themselves are 100% concrete and steel.
Beautiful.
In terms of
Guys, I do know we are over the hour already at this point. We have one we had some technical difficulties, but we have one more amazing
blame it on my audio. So.
We have one more amazing community to share with you guys, and then some really important things here at the very end that we'll just kind of finish off this presentation for you. But we do understand if you have to jump off, life has other things that you must attend to. So please make sure to drop your questions in before you leave. We'll go ahead and get them answered live so that you have them on the recording when you go back and listen later. But we'll also get in touch with you via email to make sure we get those questions answered for you. So last but certainly not least is the Aruna Resort community on the island of Ambergris Caye in Belize. And as a resident of Belize and having spent over 4 years there, I've made a lot of friends, just a lot of memories in Belize. So I am partial to Belize. But Andrea, talk to us about why people are choosing to own in Belize.
Sure, Ali, thank you. So we really have Belize in our hearts because we lived there for about 3 years. So it is very different from the other communities, but it's a very beautiful country as well. So the top reasons people are owning Belize, first of all, the English. It's the only Latin American country that has English as the official language. So many people feel more comfortable being able to live in a country that's the official, and they don't have problems with communicating with anybody. It's very easy access that it has from North America. You can have a direct flight there to get there. So you don't have any problems. You get to the Belize mainland, and then you take a smaller plane and get to Ambergris Caye, which is a beautiful trip. It is like 15 minutes only to get there, and you see the difference, how the waters change from, the mainland that are a little bit darker to more turquoise, beautiful waters until you get to Ambergris Caye. We love that flight, doing it all the time. And also the rapidly growing tourist industry. Ambergris Caye, specifically where Aruna is located, has 75% of all the tourism in the country. So if you're looking to invest, it's a great country to have a home and rent, to have really great revenues.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that it generates a huge portion of the tourism for the entire country. The mainland is beautiful. It has a ton of jungles and caves and waterfalls and things like that. But being that it's such a short flight over to the island, a lot of people choose to actually spend their evenings on the island and take the day trips to the mainland, which is why you see this huge need for accommodations there on Ambergris Caye. But here is the master plan. This one's a little bit different in terms of a community. It's a canal community essentially. So Patrick, tell us about this canal community, and I see drawbridges on the master plan, which kind of triggers some childhood emotions for me. But talk to us a little bit about this.
Yeah, it was a unique community for us to design, and it was a lot of fun, and we really love it. It's got so many things that are part of the common areas and third spaces. It's the first canal community that we designed, and the canal opens up to a blue water lagoon that, what was that movie with Brooke Shields again?
The blue lagoon.
The Blue Lagoon. That's always, again dating myself. Nobody else knows what I'm talking about. But anyway, they're all like, "Who's Brooke Shields?" but no, it's beautiful. It's like the water acts as your road, right? Because you're coming into the canal. Like you said, it's got drawbridges that come up for allowing your boats in. You can boat right up to your front yard, and I really like some of the things in the common areas too. Little kiosk, restaurant type kiosk. Ultimately, a condominium building at the far left end of the community, where you have kind of rooftop jungles and bar and things like that. It's a lot of very cool things. There's a spectacular restaurant on the right hand side on the end of the pier with an infinity pool right over literally over top of the ocean. Kind of a netted area where you can hang out and relax in the sun, with these little areas that are jutted out from the dock for lounge chairs and things. So really cool area. Beautiful homes, more of the Belizean style homes that almost a little bit Mediterranean style in terms of their design, but again, solid concrete homes that are going to be there forever. And we're using a lot of Belizean and wood accents. So I'm really excited about this community, and they've already developed, I think, 8 of the homes and restaurants have gone up. The pool's there, all those sorts of things are happening. So it's not just like this will be done sometime. This is well underway now. So.
Right, and let me just clarify on that, since you brought it up, Patrick, is that the developers of Aruna have started already on their first phase, which is a little bit of a different home model. They are wooden structures, whereas the Eco Villages homes will be concrete. So if you are there on Ambergris Key right now and you go visit, just note that what is there right now isn't necessarily the same representation of the Eco Villages homes that you will be owning. So let's move over here into phase 1 of, well, actually phase 2, but the Eco Villages phase 1, I guess you could say. And on the right, you can see the tiny home community here. And then on the left are your larger 2 or 3 bedroom homes. We mentioned that we do design other homes besides just tiny homes. So if you're in the market for something a little bit bigger, you're going to have a lot of family and friends that come and visit you. We're happy to share that information with you as well.
Yeah, and the landscaping here is going to be amazing too. And again, lots of paths and walkways, the bridges across the canal to the little kiosks. If you've spent any time by any chance in Ambergris Key, places like the truck stop, which is a famous little place with a bunch of you have Thai food and pizza and all sorts of different things, all in a very small area. So something similar to that, where you have kind of a gathering spot, digital nomad spot with high-speed Wi-Fi, so you can work there, a little work section area as well. People love to. Digital nomads, people that work from home or whatever, don't always want to be inside their home. It's nice to go out to an open air area where you can work, and this has really been designed for that too, with the yoga palapa and those sorts of things as well. So it's a very pretty spot. Obviously, you have the clear water. You could literally fish off of your tiny home deck right there if you wanted to. So
yeah, absolutely. And again, we did also, in addition to doing basically a community webinar, we also had a Q&A webinar with the developers of Aruna, who answered all kinds of questions about everything from HOA to building materials to how they plan to be responsible in maintaining the marine ecosystem under construction. So if you want to check that out, just let us know, and we'll be happy to send that recording over to you so that you have it handy to review. But so without further ado, the Kokora model at the Aruna Resort. This is a beautiful almost 650 square foot tiny home with, again, some great wood accents, great outdoor living spaces. It is a full loft bedroom, and I'm going to get into some renderings here in just a minute that show you just how beautiful and how airy that this model looks. You really probably don't even need lights during the day unless it's super overcast, but just an incredible model the developers and our team have gotten together to offer you a webinar special here of $225,000. Again, this may be sticker shock to you. You may be saying, but I can find a home in these countries for less than that. We're going to talk to you a little bit about that here in a minute. But what I want to say is, through this presentation, we've moved through this appreciation curve. So you're seeing now that Belize is kind of in that sweet spot. It's on everybody's radar. It's starting to become more visited by tourists. There's just this need in the market for these homes. So we do have that webinar special available. And if I back up one slide, you'll see that it's for any of the home lots that are still available. So any of those that you see that start with a T there. So T9 through T16. We do have a homeowner on the line with us, Jonathan, the happy homeowner of T12. And I see you had a question there, Jonathan. We'll get to that here in just a second. But any of those home models you are able to reserve before July 6th and secure that webinar special price. Here is kind of just a rendering of how these homes are set up, and something that I know we've mentioned before, but I want to mention it here again, is how these homes are not in a straight line. They're offset from each other. And Patrick, can you kind of give us just the idea behind why y'all chose to situate these on the land like that?
Well, obviously, you know, when you do that kind of design, you want to have everybody have the opportunity to be looking out at the canal without looking at your neighbors. And, you know, again, with the landscaping on these renderings, we have a fairly light landscaping, but, you know, likely to be quite a bit fuller between the homes. So although the homes are reasonably close together, you really have that privacy feel. And a lot of you can't really see it in these as well, but there's a, you know, a pull down, kind of those bamboo curtain things where you can pull down on the side, so you can sit out on your deck and nobody's looking at you from the side, but you can always wave to the people coming up the canal in their little boats or stand up paddle boards or whatever.
Or have your own boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Have your own boat. That's it. Just solve all the problems right there. Just have your own boat. But as you can see, you guys, this is extremely light and airy and just a great cozy place to go to retreat to at the end of your night after a long day of fishing or snorkeling. You can see also on the bottom picture, if you look through that doorway on the left, you can see that there's a little desk there, so that if you are needing to work or catch up on emails, you can do that while looking out at your amazing home there. But just again, we have these ROI calculations. You can see, if you've been paying attention throughout the presentation, as we moved into these different communities, those figures changed. And again, that is based off of that investment curve after what we've seen in the market and what you guys have experienced personally in the market, as far as rental rates and occupancy numbers and things like that. So again, happy to go through all of those with you on a case-by-case basis. And last but not least, you know, Julie had to run. Julie was on the line with us here earlier, but she said, you know, now I just need to win the lottery so I can buy one of each. And Julie, we've actually put together an example here, just a way to diversify. You know, we actually have people that are saying, you know what, I'm done, that I don't want to live where I am right now anymore. I'm going to sell my house. Tell me what to do. And here's an example of what you can do. Like I mentioned, there's a little bit of sticker shock when you're looking at how much these homes cost, especially when you're talking about tiny homes, right? And people are like, well, it's a tiny home. How much could it possibly cost me? But the reality is that they're actually quite affordable. And we have another slide to break down what those costs look like. Andrea, you mentioned owning the land, and that's a huge thing for a lot of people that are looking at tiny homes in other parts of the world, is owning the land. But here's an example for you. Protect your wealth, diversify your portfolio. If you want to live in a different part of the world, every 3 months you want to pack your suitcase and go to Nicaragua, for example, while your other two homes are on the rental market and they're being rented out, and you're earning that passive income while you're not there, you're in another tropical location in the world. You can absolutely do that. Patrick, do you want to just kind of break down? I mean, I know you guys, you are doing it, you're living that life. So talk to us a little bit about how people can essentially follow in your footsteps and find this tropical paradise for themselves.
Yeah, and in this example, we have a California home. I guess the median price was over $800,000. That's obviously not the case in necessarily in Idaho or Nevada or some wherever. But you know, the bottom line is that for the cost of a typical home, you know, if you have your home that's paid for in U.S., Canada, different parts of Europe, Australia, you can usually have a very good lifestyle down here by taking some of that money and putting it into maybe one, maybe two, maybe three, whatever it is, tiny homes. And like I said, Andrea and I have a great lifestyle. You know, sometimes you feel nomadic. It's like, oh, we've been here a couple months, let's go somewhere else. Sometimes you want to say, you know what, I just want to stay on the beach in Nicaragua for the next 8 months, whatever it is. You have that choice, and you can just rent your other homes out at the time that you're not in them. Put yourself in your lock-off closet, and you know, and basically, if you know, if you do it right, you can pay for your cost of living by the homes that you're renting out. So, and obviously they're gaining in capital gain value as well, especially right now when we're seeing so many people, you know, exodus from other countries and an influx into these countries. You know, there's a demand, right? So the prices always go up when there's a demand. So I think it's a great time for people that have the ability to do this. You know, it gives you the great lifestyle and some peace of mind that, you know, you're having a good investment in terms of you know, gaining in value as well.
Absolutely. So if that's something that's on your mind, just let us know. We'll talk you through what that looks like and how to take that route. But something else that we have been talking and mentioning throughout this presentation is the actual value of these homes. And you know, Andrea, as somebody who speaks with clients and different people that are relocating on a daily basis, the question we get asked a lot, well, why do these homes cost so much? I can get online and I can find a home in Nicaragua for, you know, $60,000 or $70,000. Why are these homes valued so much higher than that? And for example, we put this together for you guys just so you can see the difference and put pen to paper. So the Locino home, you have this on the left. You've got your 2-bedroom tiny home that's just under 600 square feet. You are owning the land and the home on that land for the price that we showed you. Again, it's a webinar special, so depending on what model you choose. But you're owning the land, meaning you can sell it. You can sell the home, but you can also sell the land should you choose to do so. Included is your solar system. You know, one of the big things that eco-sensible, eco-villages prides itself on is allowing people this more affordable lifestyle, this better quality of life by reducing their monthly costs. And one of those ways is through this hybrid solar system. If you're looking at a home somewhere else, that solar system probably isn't included, meaning if you want to put it in, it's going to cost you, if you see on the right hand side there, about $10,000. And if you choose not to make that initial investment, then you're going to be faced with a higher utility bill every month. Electricity is expensive in this part of the world. So you'll need to keep that in mind as you're out there doing your due diligence and searching the internet and looking at these different homes that are available. Again, included in your Locino home there on the left is septic, water, and service hookups. We'll kind of go into the opposite of that here in just a second, but then also included is your foundation. You're not on wheels. You actually have a foundation that your home sits on and is properly primed and prepared for you before the actual home is built. It is built to North American standards. A lot of people, we get questioned a lot about weather. And the reality is in this part of the world, there are different kinds of natural disasters, hurricanes and earthquakes and things like that. These locations aren't necessarily susceptible as other parts of Central America, but they are built to North American standards so that when you move in, you are going to love your home. You're not going to have all of this upkeep that maybe you would have if you were buying a home that's been there for 10 years and exposed to elements that weren't concrete maybe, or potentially. But so on the right side, tiny home in the USA, this is an actual scenario that we have pulled off of the internet. In fact, just in the last couple of days, so a tiny home in the US is 335 square feet. One bed is listed for $166,000. But look at what you don't have. You don't have the land. This is a mobile tiny home. So to buy your property, to buy a beachfront land in a gated community is going to cost you about $230,000. And that is conservative. You know, if you're looking for a beachfront community, gated, again, all three of these communities are gated communities. They have security on site that you're not always going to find in other parts of the world. Your solar system that we talked about, another added cost of about $10,000 to source that and install it. Then your septic, water, and service hookups are another $15,000. And then, of course, if you do choose to have your home on a static foundation, you're going to look at spending about $8,000. And again, that's fairly conservative. So you're looking at actual cost of owning a tiny home for about $430,000. So just that comparison right there, I know that, you know, like I said, you can go on the internet, you can do your own research, but really dig into it and look at what actually you're going to be handed the keys to when making that decision. Was there anything? Yeah, go ahead, Patrick.
Sorry, I was just to say, I think even with all the description you just had, it's still very conservative. I mean, the solar system is going to cost you more than $10,000. We didn't put in permitting. We didn't put in a lot of those sorts of things, you know, surveying properties and all those different things. You mentioned security, you know, and all sorts of things, you know, treating water, drainage, all sorts of things that don't go into this on the right, but that would just add up. So your $428,000 actual cost is probably going to be a lot higher. So it is, you know, it's a great slide to show that, you know, it's almost apples to apples, right? But there's still a lot of hidden costs on the right-hand side in the US, and you know, you're not getting the same quality of build in the end. So
Or location.
yeah, and so and the same goes. You mentioned in Nicaragua, you could maybe find a house for whatever $70,000 or something. Yeah, you can find that. It's not well built. It's never been, you know, checked and inspected. It's going to fall apart, and you know, and who knows whether, you know, where it is and all those sorts of things. So, you know, we've been in these markets for a long time. These are extremely fair prices, very competitive, and you know, you're getting far more than what you'd get, you know, on a comparable property next door. So, you know, we're very proud of what we do, obviously, and we want just people to understand that, you know, you got to think about all these other things. If you're not buying in one of these communities, you know, you're going to have to deal with a lot of different things. So.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we try to maintain transparency between us as the designer, our developers in various countries, and we're happy to get questions answered directly from the developer, host these Q&A webinars so that you know who you're talking to and you know who you're working with. We do have some questions. I see them in there, you guys. We are going to get to them. We are here at the end of the presentation. Basically, we do have some other communities that are coming soon, some that we are really excited about. Again, you know, as we move through this presentation, the purchase prices of these homes did increase. And again, Panama and Costa Rica are on a lot of people's radar. And again, these places will be further at the top end of the curve. So likely the home prices in Panama and Costa Rica, tiny home prices, will be a little bit higher than what you've seen in the presentation today, just as we move along that investment curve. But stay tuned. We have some exciting stuff happening in some other countries in the region. But Andrea, this is your slide. Tell us what we should do if we're ready to take the next step and reserve one of these amazing tropical tiny homes.
So if you are interested in any of these models, in 2 or in 3 or anything, the next step is to choose the home site and the model from any of these communities. Then we take a $2,500 refundable reservation. Remember the specials, the reservation. If you reserve before July 6th, you get the special prices that we just showed you in this webinar. So we get the reservation. After we get the reservation, we send you all the paperwork, the purchase agreement, the rental management, if you want to rent your place, everything that you need to know, and you would have 10 business days to review all this ownership package and decide if you want to move forward or not.
So I guess this
Perfect.
is the Independence Day special, right? Because July for Canadians and Americans, July 1st and July 4th, we can gain your independence, get your tiny home before July 6th. Should have been our
love
motto.
it.
It's a
I
special
love
date.
it. It is a special date. So get in touch with us. It's a simple 2-page form to reserve your home. We will, again, send you everything that you need to know about that home. I saw somebody asked about a warranty. You do have a 1-year limited warranty on your home. Once your home is handed over to you, keys are delivered, and you do have that 1-year limited warranty. We do have that in a document that you are able to review during your 10 business day review period. But yeah, we can answer questions. We can do give you anything. If you want videos, we have videos of the properties. In fact, several members of our team are going to be in Nicaragua at the beginning of July. So if you are wanting to see some of that while you're under your review period, we can send you some videos and stuff there from on site, which, you know, Patrick, you guys are really good about going and checking on the communities very periodically. Like you said, you were just in Honduras. I'm heading to Nicaragua here in a couple of weeks, and then I'm sure it'll be Belize soon after that. But I do have, let's see, we do have a couple more questions. We are here at the end of the presentation. Again, if you need to jump off, you are more than welcome to do so. We'll send you this recording. But if you guys are okay to stay and answer questions, we can do so, at least for some of them. I love this question, so I'm gonna do it first. Can I pay with Bitcoin?
Yes, you can. We're pretty big crypto fans, especially Bitcoin fans. We actually have a Bitcoin marketplace, so we're absolutely willing to take Bitcoin. And you know what, a lot of people are doing that. I'm a Bitcoin fan myself. I'm a hodler. I hold my Bitcoin too, but you know what, right now I've been diversifying a little bit into property as well. And as we see the stock market coming down and crypto's had a couple rough weeks here, you know, it's not a bad idea to get into property where, you know, we still expect, you know, gains in the property side, especially in this region.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you, Patrick, I have a husband that gives me the daily report every morning. So, but Charlie, we answered your residency question earlier, and you had a second part to that question was what is involved in hiring people for various things? And Patrick, this is a great question for you and Andrea. What is involved in hiring people for various things from translation, drivers, house cleaners, to business managers?
That is a great question. I mean, it's one of the reasons why we do what we do, because we have a foundation called Help Them Help Themselves, and that's really how we started being in these countries. And you know, eco villages came as part of that, but really what we find is the best thing you can do for the local people is employment. I mean, we've built clinics, we've built schools, we've built homes, but in the end of the day, the people that we employ through the communities and the people that live in the communities is the best part. I mean, we've seen lives change for the better all over the place near our communities as they take more pride in building their own homes and things like that. So among the local villagers around the communities. The other good thing is it's very inexpensive. Nicaragua and Honduras, you can have like a full-time chef maid, basically probably under $400 a month. A little bit more expensive in some of, you know, Costa Rica or Panama. Belize is a little bit more than that, but you know, in a lot of these countries, you know, and people think, well, that seems insulting or whatever. No, that's the economy. You don't want to go into a country and change the economy. If that's the going rate, that's the going rate. Because if you pay somebody twice that, then all the rest of the villagers in that community are going, well, what's going on with me? So you can't really move into these communities and change the economy, but you can make a big difference by employing people at the correct value. And you can ask us, you know, people get landscapers, people get, like I said, you know, full-time, part-time chefs, or people that maybe somebody comes in and, you know, on a Monday morning and makes the whole week's meals for you and you freeze it or whatever. And that, you know, that's pretty popular too. So to me, it's it's not about being a, a princess or a prince, right? And saying, oh, I'm not going to do anything. And to me, it's more about how many people can we employ for a reasonable amount of money.
Yeah.
And Andrea, you're from the region, right? Latin America. What are your feelings on that?
They truly appreciate to have the opportunity of a job. So if you can, if a person can hire somebody to clean their home, somebody to be their driver, they would be happy to do it. You know, we hire people in the restaurant, we hire people to clean the house, our home, and they all are appreciated, and many of them have even started their own homes in their villages. So by what you have to pay for a person to work in a restaurant, what they earn is enough for them to be able to also have a home, take your kids, buy their clothes, like have a good economy in their lives. So you can see it as very low for Latin America, for North American standards, but here it isn't. It is something that will help them a lot.
Yeah, it's all relative. When your cost of living to buy the food to put on your table is very low, which is another thing we didn't really talk about. When you're living down here, it's very low cost of living. So that it's all relative. So if you're paying somebody, like I said, $300 or $400 a month to clean your home or cook your food or landscape your yard or whatever, that they're happy. That's great, because that gives them enough money to even save a little bit after buying their food. So,
and that is one of the reasons that they are so welcoming with foreigners, because they see, oh, this is an opportunity to have more jobs.
Perfect. And along those lines, Charlie was asking as a follow-up, well, how much government red tape? And that's a really good question too. And I'm not sure specifically what you're talking about, if it's concerning residency or business ownership, but anything you want to say there, Patrick? I mean, we've learned a lot of these lessons along the way. I don't have nearly as much experience with it as you do, Patrick, but I do know that, these countries look at you as somebody that's coming in to make things better for their people. So Patrick, was there anything that you would say specifically about red tape in the government?
well, if it's regarding, hiring people for, your own home or whatever, there's zero red tape. If it's, starting a business, I'll admit it, Latin America likes everything in triplicate form and stamped 100 times. And it's a little bit different if you're coming from, more of a first world area where everything's online and you sign on to something, your bank accounts, everything. But down in this part of the world, it's a little bit like stepping back in time a few decades, and in most ways that's great, because the world's moving a little bit slower. There's not as much angst. Family's more important. All those sorts of things that are really great about that. Sometimes I got to admit it gets a little bit frustrating when you walk into a bank and you want to just withdraw money for whatever reason, you're not doing it at an ATM or whatever, that it could take you half an hour to do it, which I'm an impatient person. I'm still learning to be Latin American. Andrea's helping me learn.
Yeah, but as far as hiring is concerned, when you come in, especially if you do go the residency route and look to start a business and things like that, there's I would say pack your patience, and it's not so much red tape, it's just staying on top of things, which we do have a lot of professionals that we work with, attorneys and things like that we'd be happy to introduce you to help move those processes along in a more timely manner, for sure.
Yeah, and as you know, Eco Villages team spends a huge amount of our time helping people relocate, become residents, whatever. We want everybody to have a good experience, right? We want, I feel like I kind of went through the school of hard knocks and paid a lot of tuition to learn a lot of lessons on, because, when you move to another country, you just think, oh, it's going to work exactly like where I came from. Well, it doesn't. It's a different culture. But we're here to answer a lot of those questions and make the path as smooth as possible for everybody. And once you're here and you're, whether you're investing here or living here, you have just a much better quality of life. It's just the bottom line.
Perfect. All right. Michael, again, I know you have a ton of questions and you have them actually about all the communities, which is great and wonderful. We can't wait to get that information over to you. Let us get it typed out and written out for you so that you have it and you can compare across communities. But I do want to address one of the questions that you had, which was the prices. Do they include appliances and furniture? And the answer to that is some. We do have furniture packages for each of the communities. There are standard features that are built into some of the homes. So each community is a little bit different, so it's hard to give you a straight answer there. There are furniture packages, though, that will be in addition to the base price of the home. And the reason that we leave that separate, and we're talking about your beds, your towels, your shower curtains, all those kinds of things that are in the furniture package. If you are planning to put your home into the established rental program that will be in that community, you will need to have that furniture package. But for people that are looking to, just own their home and come and live every 6 months and they want their own stuff, then that's why we've left that separate and left that as an option for people. But we do have all of that broken down. Again, that will be in your ownership package that we send to you for that 10-day review. It has everything written out down to your coffee mugs, so you're able to review that. And something about the furniture package I will say is the furniture is locally sourced, meaning that most of it is going to be built out of local hardwoods. And I know, Patrick, you mentioned that, in Belize, it's mahogany. Nicaragua, Patrick, what is the wood in Nicaragua?
The common woods are Guanacaste, or it's a local kind of oak sort of thing, and cedar. But yeah, I mean, this isn't IKEA furniture, right? This is handmade hardwood, beautiful, beautiful furniture, like where, if these furniture packages were in US, they'd be 5 times or more the price, right? Because this is very high quality stuff.
Yep, absolutely. And it's high quality so that you're getting a good product, but it's also high quality to ensure that it stands up to the elements of being in tropical locations. So I think Jonathan's going to be visiting the region this next month and would like to know about who to get in contact with to be able to see his homes. So Jonathan, we'll put you in touch directly with Andrea. We have all the contact information that you need. And I wanted to point this out, that we do have people on the ground, even though currently I'm here in Panama. I know Andrea and Patrick, you're here in Panama at the moment, but we do bounce around so much. If you're planning to come down to any one of these communities, you want to tour, you want to get your boots on the ground, just let us know. We've got people everywhere, and if it's not us personally, we put you in touch with somebody there that can take you over, show you around, and just let you get to know your surroundings there. But I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. We still have some questions here in the Q&A, but we are at about 3:40, so just about an hour and 40 minutes long here. I know that you guys have other things to get on with your day, but we will get in touch with you via email with your questions answered. Any more information? Spencer dropped some median home prices here in the chat. The USA median home price of 2022 is $428,700. In Canada, it is 711. Yeah, I can't even read the number.
711.
Yeah, 711,316 Canadian dollars. So you guys can see that living in the tropics, increasing your quality of life and decreasing your monthly cost of living is something that you can do quite easily. So we appreciate you being all on the line with us here today. Thank you for sticking around during our technical difficulties there at the beginning. We are so happy to be able to share this information with you guys. Again, we are here for you throughout this journey, whether it's full-time relocation or getting that second residency. We're here to help you navigate that journey. And I'll pass it off to you, Andrea and Patrick, to say our final closing words here.
Thank you. I just want to thank everybody for being here. And as you were mentioning, we're here to help you along the way. If you want any questions to know anything about any of these properties, just send us the questions. Any questions you like, we could do it via email. We can do it via WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram. we can have a Zoom call as well. So we are here to help you and make it as smooth as possible, all this process for you.
Yeah, and as a Canadian that kind of started this process of investing and relocating, well, actually 3 decades ago when I first started getting involved down here, you know, please take advantage of what we've learned over the years, and we are happy to answer questions. We want, like I said, to have everybody have as smooth a process as possible, and you know, we're excited to make new friends, people coming down to this area too, because we love it. We want to be able to share, you know, the kind of lifestyle that we have. So happy to answer questions. Don't be shy. And thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we'll be in touch soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.